This is one of Debbie's flatmates, and this is to bring you this episode of My Mum Said I Could Watch It. Alright, that was a costume I bought for 50p. I've never worn it. It's never been out of the pack. It's from when Poundland closed down with 90% off. I'm sure there are other people who think they've got an idea of what's happened to that package since I've never worn it. Each and every one of them is banned from the comments, no matter how accurate their view is. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Not really sure how to talk about this film. Chiodo Brothers classic. Absolute classic. Complete belter. Beaming from ear to ear. My relationship with this film dates back to about 1990. I think the film was self-made in 1989. For those who haven't, and I don't know how you watch these things now, Mike is getting lucky with his girlfriend Debbie on Blueberry Hill, or whatever the hell you want to call them. And they see a shooting star. They go to check it out. Inside the shooting star is a troupe of killer clowns from outer space. They escape from the killer clowns. They run back into town. Rudely ignored by the senior cop and the junior cop, who's also Dave, Debbie's ex-boyfriend. And what happens next is about an hour of watching some hilarious mise-en-scenes and vignettes of clowns killing people in the most original, imaginative and gothic way. They are able to destroy the clowns by the end of it. Debbie does get captured, and Mike, the chatty one, and Dave, the ex-boyfriend, who is blatantly going to be the boyfriend by the end of this film, are able to rescue Debbie, get out of there, and when the larger police force and military arrive, watch all the clowns explode. That is a real basic premise. So you've got the town run amok. This is an exaggerated version of Gremlins in some ways. It's obviously a small $2 town, but I gotta say the way they've done it is really elevated, and even the storytelling, I think, with what they've done, they've committed. They've absolutely committed to what this is. Yes, people go Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is absurd. But there's none of that level of eye rolling. They have not used this as an excuse to scrimp or be cheap and go, hey, I know it's cheap, but you know, it's just fun, yo. Right, no. The clowns are amazingly built. The Chiodo Brothers have put in such production values. And it really is, whether or not they're pulling someone in with a Punch and Judy show, whether or not you actually fall for the Terenzi brothers. There is a circus motif within the town itself, which kind of implies that's why the clowns have arrived, the Big Top Burger place and so on. But it's also how they're able to assimilate with their own absurdity. It's just so packed. It really is. And there's something else I would say, is that there's genuine fear. There is genuine fear and suspense throughout the film. The deaths are kind of fitting, be it the biker guy who gets his head knocked off for breaking Green Clown's little trike. The guy sitting under the veranda suddenly watching this Punch and Judy show. He's obviously just loitering about, watches the show and then gets eaten. The real ones that hit, though, are the guy's just driving along and then suddenly this clown just rides him off the road. It's not even about eating him or turning him into, do you want some candy? It really just does it for the laughs of it. And there's an incredible suspense scene with a small girl who really should be listening to a stranger danger. The fact is, the clown's got a mallet. It hasn't got one of the ray guns. This is purely about exploring pain. It's also just gives, as I watched it, a greater depth to some sort of sense of class dynamics there. This is a university town after all. Two guys, quite effete, goth guys, who are told that they should keep to themselves in the university. There's a definite sense of a subtext there. I would go so far as to say that they are ostensibly a gay couple, in as much as 1989 allows, but I'll concede that may be me reading into the way that the officers treat them. the fact is, the senior officer is the straight man to it all. And I got to say that the lead isn't Mike. You would think that the lead would be the girlfriend's quirky boy underdog. He's the one who sort of like should be like shabby as hell and then gets it all together in the last 15 minutes. So that takes the last 15 years of acting badly out. Did I say 15 years? That really has no relevance to myself, and my ex is banned from the comments. The crux being is that he hangs out with two loafers who've bought an ice cream van. Her ex-boyfriend, yes, there's an argument that he's overprotective. Some statements and sentiments of control, Dave. But I gotta say that when his girlfriend comes to him, his ex, who he still feels for, the fact is she dumped him. He doesn't like the new guy, but he's willing to be open about that emotionally and deal with it in terms of the betterment for the whole town. And you know what? He's got a job, right? The students are students. Even the Terenzi brothers have got an ice cream van. I really don't know what Mike's putting on the table here. I really don't. He's got a nice jumper. That's about it. He's got a dinghy in the back of his car. All I'm saying is that throughout the journey of this film, Dave is brought in late. Dave does not witness anything, yet is willing to go on the word of his ex and her new boyfriend. Dave is the one who uses the investigations. Dave is the one who kills the most clowns. And when it comes to it, Dave is the one who explodes the big top. Dave is willing to sacrifice himself so that Debbie has a life. Another thing I would notice about the film is that it is actually, I would say, close to being a 12. The violence is relatively moderate. There's only one real bloody graphic thing and one decapitation. It is, in its own way, quite tame. It does, yes, there is a shower scene, but it's all really about the vehicle of popcorn clowns. It is not about getting to see anyone in their underwear, which for the film time, you know, is quite surprising. I know that when this film came out, it was a 15, and this is why I have such a great relationship with this. Ritz had opened in Abbeville Road, and my main reason for convincing my mum to join Ritz, I would have been 14, was so that I could rent Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Our local place at the corner hadn't got it. It's the only place that had it. And even then, Ritz was, there was no, my mum said I could watch it in order to get a film out of Ritz. Ritz was proper. Ritz was the proto-blockbuster of censorship. I had to fake a birthday. In fact, I remember going up to rent this film, and as I handed it to the lady at the counter, I went, 1975! Loved it. Loved every minute of it. It came back around again when Netflix launched in the UK. So this would have been about 12, 13 years ago. Now get this. Netflix hired me. Yes, me. As part of their market research in London. It was 60 quid. I went into the Netflix office at the time. There was me and about half a dozen other guys. And some ladies as well. So, sorry. Using a generic term. And the reason why I mention the guys is about 3 or 4 of us all went, I really love the fact that Killer Klowns from Outer Space is here. Of course, at that point, it's about the back catalogue. The guys who worked at Netflix were surprised by how popular Killer Klowns from Outer Space was. But then again, while having that conversation, I pointed out they should have more regional classifications for world cinema. Thinking, for example, you could have French films, Italian films, Indian films. They replied with, we got foreign. So that was £60 well spent on their part. And I'll tell you now, the film is free. It's on Freeview. I'd love to get the Arrow box set. I'd love to see the special editions. I've seen the Dickies live. I've loved that work as well. There is nothing wrong with this film. Really hits the mark consistently, persistently, and it just ramps up every level of, okay, you want Killer Klowns, we're going to give you a Killer Clown, but it's just not they're not just going to be knifey stab boys with a big red nose. We're going to bring imagination, we're going to bring popcorn, we're going to bring the idea that, you know, these Terenzi brothers would just be easily bought by psychotic clowns, despite the fact that they're obviously psychotic clowns. As long as they're in a clown outfit and are aliens and have massive boobs, they'll see past that and any of the danger to themselves. Now, I'm not saying I relate to that. I'm just saying that Charlie Bond is banned from the comments. So really do watch this film as soon as you can. Buy a ticket for this big top adventure of terror. Really. Thank you so much for your time.